LCSC, Students of African History, Professor Eric Martin, and I'm reshooting a few of the videos that I put up earlier. Wasn't really happy with the way things went before. So this one I think is going to cover the syllabus, and then depending on how long it is, I'm going to also go through how we're going to use the Canvas site. And if it's too long, I'll do that with a different video. So let's talk about the syllabus. Syllabus is real easy to find here off the home page, right? You just click over here on the left-hand side. It's syllabus. And something's supposed to happen. There we go. All right. Now, a lot of y'all, let's just jump down here to the bottom. A lot of y'all are probably used to the course summary with all the different dates and things. And let me just kind of make that student view. Ignore that stuff for right now. Kind of. Some of these assignments are left over from a previous version. There's a whole lot of clicking. You see, it's like, you're already late, right? These assignments were due 2 years ago. It's this stuff here where you can start using it. That's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the syllabus itself. You click on this and make it a little bigger, and I bet that messes things up with Snagit, so maybe we'll just do it like this. All right, so History 333-60, easy enough. We're an asynchronous online course. We don't have Zoom meetings. We're never going to have a live meeting. I think I said in some other video, I kind of wish maybe we had decided to have 1 or 2 meetings at the beginning and then do this. That seems like an interesting way to do a class. I know we can't all do that. But this is an on your own time class, not necessarily on your own schedule class, right? Okay. This is how to get in contact with me email wise. Please use the inbox function on Canvas. LCSC has got my spam filter so tight that if you use my other email, I may or may not see it. If you use Canvas, you have a record. You send it to me. I have a record. And that way, if there's any kind of questions about, hey, I told you this information, we can say, well, let's look at Canvas, and it'll show it, right? Phone number, that's, the contact information up there. You are one lucky person if you catch me in the office, because when I'm on campus, I'm usually moving around or somebody is in there talking with me. However, the deal with my phone number is the voicemail kicks directly to my phone, right? So I'll know you called. Office is in Spalding Hall. Feel free to drop by. Zoom office, you're going to have better luck with, right? So that's the number 617-792-2281. And here in another week or so, you're going to get so used to seeing emails coming from me announcing virtual office hours, you'll know exactly what's up. Speaking of office hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, 10:30 through 11:30 are my official times that I'm in the office. I usually got the Zoom office up all Monday morning, all Friday morning, maybe all Wednesday morning. Kind of depends on what I got going on. If I'm just sitting here working in front of the computer, I'll kick the Zoom up. All right. Also, I don't really want to meet at 8 p.m. or on the weekend. However, occasionally that's the only time a student can meet, and it's not the end of the world. We can do it on Zoom, kick it up, and figure out, especially early in the semester. The class itself is a survey of African history from, prehistory to modern times. We're going to be using literature. We're going to use film. We're going to use some music at some point. I need to figure out how we're going to do that with the online version. You don't need any special history classes. All you need is to have completed English 102. And if you haven't done that, talk to me. It doesn't mean you have to get out. It just means there's a lot of writing involved. I want to make sure you're good to go with it. If we were at a bigger school, we would have lots of different, you know, African history specialty courses. We don't. We just have kind of like one big one. In some ways, it's kind of cool because I don't think Africa's a place that many of us have thought about for an entire semester. So that's the mission, and we'll see what we learn. You got it, virtual remote course. The last time I taught this course, it was virtual remote. It was during the pandemic. I need to go through here and update a new syllabus. Apparently, ignore this. It's not virtual remote. In terms of course objectives, I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. I am going to stop with the first one. The main course objective for me, and the whole purpose of being in college, is for you to improve your abilities to educate yourself about any topic you want to. And so we're going to work on learning how to educate ourselves about African history in this particular case. And then when you're finished, if there's stuff you want to learn about that we didn't cover, hopefully you'll have some ideas about who some of the, big name scholars are, where some of the good sources are, how to go about doing that. That's what I care about the most. Learning how to educate yourself, learning how to access good data, learning how to interpret good data. You can read the rest. Required readings. There's two more that aren't on here. I'll explain them in a second. Ibn Battuta in Black Africa. You need that book right away. You've got an assignment due on it in 3 weeks. It is not expensive. The read is faster than it looks. Get a hold of it. It is an important source about medieval West Africa. Primary source. The next book, Sundiata, An Epic Tale of Old Mali. You need that book pretty soon too. You've got an assignment on that. Week 5. It's real thin. African Perspectives on Colonialism. We'll deal with that right after spring break. Nervous Conditions. I'm not sure. Okay, African Perspectives on Colonialism is like 4 chapters, I think. 4 pretty thin chapters. It is in the conversation for the thinnest book with the most information you'll ever read. Bowen is a very big name in African history, and this is a classic work explaining how colonialism worked from the perspective of Africans. Nervous Conditions is a piece of fiction. It's really fun. Haven't exactly figured out how we're dealing with it, but get a hold of it. Be some, spring break reading. Now, 2 other required readings that are not on here. One of them I'm going to provide you, and it's just a whole bunch of different documents on various aspects of the Atlantic slave trade. We'll talk about that as we get closer to it. And then the other one is something that you pick, right? Any topic you want has to be approved by me, connected to African history. You want to do another piece of literature written by an African author, I can roll with that. You want to do something on, whatever, the Bantu migrations, very, very early stuff, I can roll with that. You want to do something on contemporary Africa, I can roll with that. But something about Africa, but you'll pick it. All right. Those are the required readings. Course evaluation. Oh my gosh, this is where things get a little tricky. I haven't exactly figured out how some of my assignments correlate coming off of the face-to-face classes into the online courses. I've taught this course a lot of times face-to-face. This is my first one asynchronous online, and I'm trying to keep the assignments manageable. However, let me give you the general sense about what we're looking at. And I'm going to start at the end. Don't worry about the food presentation. We're probably going to scrap that. It seems a little tricky at the moment. You got an end of the term essay, a formal essay. All right. We'll take a look at the details for that a little bit later. But if you've had me for classes before, you know I'm a huge fan of what did you learn, and you've got to use all the books we read in class in order to demonstrate your points. Yep, we're doing it again. And some of y'all are cheering and some of y'all are crying. I get it. But that's the way this one's going to go. It's worth 20% of your overall grade, but the whole point is every assignment we do between now and then ought to be building up to it. Okay? I like it like that. We're going to have an assignment over nervous conditions. It's probably going to be worth the other 5% from the research paper, right? You guys can't see me pointing with my pen. It says nervous conditions 5%. Seems like 10% is probably more reasonable. We're going to have something like 10% on African perspectives on colonialism. All right. However, I haven't figured out how we're going to do that one yet. Probably discussion boards. I like presentations. Speaking of presentations, the Atlantic slave trade. I know I'm going fast. I got a lot of coffee in me at the moment. The Atlantic slave trade. It says panel discussions. That's the way I've done it in the past. I kind of want to do it again like that. But the format, I don't know. Right? I'm going to come to this in a minute. 10% on Sundiata, 10% on Ibn Battuta. We're going to do some geography quizzes, making sure we kind of know where places are, and class participation. Okay? You can go through this stuff and get ideas about what's up. But here's the short version. The number one thing I care about is that you read the material, that you watch the videos, that you engage with the class in a meaningful way. If you convince me you read, you thought about it, you made an effort to talk about history with your colleagues, then you give me a lot to work with in terms of trying to calculate grades. All right, that's what I care about. So take it for what that's worth. Okay, let's just keep on moving things. Late work, you guys can read that on your own. Not a fan, get it in on time. Grading scale. C, you did what I asked you to do, didn't do anything else. It's fine, but it's a C, right? You want more than a C, then do more than the bare minimum of what you were asked. It's easy enough. Academic honesty. Yeah, don't send me off demonstrating that your discussion posts were written by AI, or that you wrote it with AI and changed a few words. That stuff's not hard to figure out. You guys do your own work, use your words, write them down. It's the whole point of being in college. Expect maximum headaches if I gotta waste my time dealing with that. I don't really know how you're gonna get children in the classroom, so I don't guess we don't have to worry about that too much, right? Schedule. Let's talk about the schedule for a second. It should say tentative schedule. And the real schedule, which is actually really the tentative schedule, is on Canvas. And we'll talk about that probably in a separate video. But here's the deal with the schedule. This is sort of how I see it going. And one of the things that you'll notice when we get into Canvas, I got it sketched out to week 3. And I really struggled getting beyond week 3 without some feedback and a live studio audience to work with, to just kind of make sure it's working. So don't stress out too much that it looks like there's really not anything beyond week 3. I went to week 3, because that's when your first big assignments due. This source analysis on the Ibn Battuta book. And everything you do week 1, 2, and 3 is building you up for that. And then once we get into it a little bit, I'll stretch out the next 2, because the Sundiata primary source analysis is the next thing. And then I got to start figuring out exactly how we're going to do this Atlantic slave trade stuff. And we'll move from there. So, what else do we need to talk about syllabus-wise? Syllabus-wise, I think that's pretty good. Again, we're gonna do for my live and in-person classes. I like discussions, and I want to do discussions in this class. But I also know that sometimes it can get overwhelming. You have a written assignment due. You have a certain number of discussion posts due. So when I'm saying that I'm trying to rework some of these assignments, I'm trying to rework them in such a way that we're just not completely overwhelmed with all the reading and writing that you have to do to have healthy discussion boards, and then also reading and writing the books and the papers. Okay? I think I'm going to actually call it good here as far as the syllabus goes. Take a look through it. Ask any questions that you want to. There's if you click on discussions, there should be a course Q&A discussion. Ask any questions you've got about the discussion boards in there. Connect with me through my office hours or anything like that. If you got questions about the syllabus and what you're supposed to do, and I got other videos to shoot, so get to work.